O Zimbabwe, the land of our forefathers, the land where history repeats itself like a broken ZBC news bulletin, the land where the ruling elite have turned misgovernance into an Olympic sport, while the citizens are left to battle economic calamities armed with nothing but prayers and hashtags. And now, the 31st of March is shaping up to be yet another date in the long, tragicomic series of national frustrations. War veterans, opposition forces, and everyday citizens are dusting off their revolutionary boots, marching once again to remind Emmerson Mnangagwa and his cronies that people are tired. Tired of corruption. Tired of fake promises. And most importantly, tired of being tired. But this isn't just another protest. This is a loud, angry demand for a complete overhaul of Zimbabwe's broken system. The people want fair wages, an end to corruption, economic stability, restoration of democracy, and above all, the resignation of a man who has done nothing but steer the country further into disaster. Imagine this. The war veterans, the same group that ZANU-PF has used and discarded over the years, are now demanding Mnangagwa's resignation. Yes, the very people who once terrorized opposition supporters in the name of ZANU-PF have now realized that loyalty to a corrupt system won't put food on the table. Their pensions stolen, their dignity gone, their loyalty, well, even that has an expiry date. It turns out, supporting ZANU-PF is like being in an abusive marriage. You keep hoping for change, but all you get are broken promises and an empty wallet. The regime should be very afraid, because when even the foot soldiers of the struggle start seeing the light, it's only a matter of time before the whole house of cards collapses. But of course, ZANU-PF, being ZANU-PF, they will try to spin this. They will probably claim the war vets have been influenced by the West, because in their twisted minds, Zimbabweans can't think for themselves. The economy is in a free fall, so dramatic it makes skydiving looks like a casual afternoon sport. Inflation has soared so high it's probably in a WhatsApp group with Elon Musk's SpaceX rockets. The ZIG is now so worthless that people are seriously considering using it as wallpaper. Yet in the midst of the chaos, government officials continue to tell people to tighten their belts. Tighten which belts? The only thing Zimbabweans have been tightening is their grip on hope. But hope doesn't pay rent. Hope doesn't buy bread. Hope doesn't stop school fees from skyrocketing. Meanwhile, the ruling elite continue to host lavish parties, drive luxury cars, and stash their millions in offshore accounts, while the rest of the country is left to queue for fuel, basic commodities, and even jobs that pay in real money. The only thing flowing freely in Zimbabwe is corruption. And speaking of corruption, let's talk about the one thing the government never seems to run out of: money for themselves. It's a well-known fact that the state is always broke when it comes to paying teachers, fixing hospitals, or improving infrastructure. But when it's time to buy luxury cars for ministers, fund useless international trips, or pay for military weapons to suppress dissent, the treasury magically opens up. Teachers in Zimbabwe are now earning salaries so low that even vendors selling tomatoes by the roadside are making more. Imagine waking up, going to work, teaching future doctors, lawyers and engineers, and then going home unable to afford cooking oil. Meanwhile, a minister's driver earns more than a headmaster. In what universe does that make sense? Oh wait, only in Zimbabwe. And it gets worse. Just when you think Mnangagwa's government couldn't be more tone deaf, they start testing the waters for a third term. Please don't test us. Do not test our patience. Yes, because apparently the 2018 and 2023 elections weren't disastrous enough. They want to extend the misery. Of course, they won't say it openly. First, they will start with constitutional amendments. Then they will manufacture endorsements from grassroots supporters, also known as paid ZANU-PF youth. And before you know it, they will be printing ballots with Mnangagwa as the only candidate. This playbook is so predictable, it should be sold as a manual. First, they will send the police to intimidate protesters. Then they will blame the protests on Western influence and interference. And finally, they will pretend everything is fine while rigging another election. But if they were hoping for silence, they are in for a rude awakening, because the people are done with the nonsense and they are showing it. As if the situation wasn't embarrassing enough for Mnangagwa, teachers have decided to strike just days before the main protest. The Amalgamated Rural Teachers Union of Zimbabwe has had enough. They are demanding salaries in US dollars because, let's be honest, getting paid in Zimbabwe dollars or the ZiG is like receiving monopoly money and being told to survive. Picture this. A teacher walks into a shop with their entire salary in cash, stacked so high it looks impressive, until they realize it's only enough to buy a loaf of bread. And yet, Mnangagwa's government has the audacity to call Zimbabwe a middle-income economy by 2030. Maybe they meant middle income for themselves, because the only thing rising in Zimbabwe is the price of mini meal. So will these protests achieve anything? Will Mnangagwa suddenly develop a conscience and step down? Will corruption disappear overnight? If history is anything to go by, the answer is a resounding no. Mnangagwa will probably call the protests an attempted coup, deploy soldiers if the soldiers are on his side, and pretend everything is under control. And if the soldiers are not on his side, he'll probably use some mercenaries. The police will arrest a few activists. Oh yes, the police. We know the police is on the ZANU-PF side. ZANU-PF will organize a counter-protest with paid supporters, and state media will run headlines about how Zimbabweans overwhelmingly support the government. Those black boots are already on the street as we speak. The government has already dispatched the riot squad all over the country. But here's the thing. No dictatorship lasts forever. At some point, people stop being afraid. And when that happens, no amount of propaganda, police brutality, or rigged elections can save a failed leader. The message from the streets is clear. Zimbabweans are no longer interested in promises. They want results. They want salaries that allow them to live, not just to survive. They want an end to the corruption that has turned government offices into looting centers. They want free and fair elections, not staged performances where the winner is already decided. And most importantly, they want Mnangagwa gone. Because after decades of suffering, one thing is certain. Zimbabwe deserves better than this circus of incompetence. So dear viewers, if you're tired of being a spectator in this mess, It's time to wake up. Whether you are in Harare, Bulawayo, or in the diaspora, the message is clear. ZANU-PF must go. And if you want to stay updated on the real news, not the nonsense ZBC feeds you, hit that subscribe button on Zimwaves TV. Because here, we don't sugarcoat the truth. We serve it raw. Just like Zimbabweans have been forced to swallow years of lies. The only difference, here, you don't need to tighten your belt to digest it.